Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel.
So today we're gonna be doing our labor and delivery story because I think it's pretty crazy. To start it off, I had a rough pregnancy already. Like it was difficult. As it gets near, you know, like we were thinking that I was gonna pop around like 36, 37 weeks, remember? And then like...
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was?
No, it was at 39 weeks.
Oh man, yeah.
So basically, like, we were like waiting. I tried everything. I literally tried all the bouncy, like the bouncy ball. And I tried freaking having sex every single day, like 3 times a day and shit. What else? The tea, I tried the tea.
Yeah, the tea.
Like it would make me a bunch and I would just drink it, and I don't really like tea, so I was forcing myself to drink. Like basically I tried everything in the book. I tried walking more.
Pineapples.
Pineapples. Like,
I snuck pineapples into the hospital because we didn't want the nurse to find out we were eating.
Yeah, I tried every single thing and literally like nothing happened. Nothing.
Yeah,
I was getting like
crazy.
mini contractions here and there. I think those are called the Braxton Hicks. And like at this point I was so uncomfortable. I was so freaking huge. Yeah, even having sex was like uncomfortable because like, you know, your legs can't really go anywhere too much because your belly's in the way. And then like my feet were so swollen. And then finally, I think we went into like the emergency room because I was sick. And I think I was at 36 weeks. Yeah. Oh no, 35. It's not even okay for me to like give birth. Like this is way too early. So at around 35 weeks, I got sick. And I was like, all right, babe, like let's go to the hospital because I was like really sick. We went to the hospital emergency room in the like what, middle of the night. Yeah. And they were like, oh, are you pregnant? I'm like, well, obviously. And then they were like, oh, okay, like do you feel like any signs that you're gonna go into labor? I'm like,
I just feel sick.
Like I was like, I just feel sick and stuff. Like I don't know. I don't think I'm feeling anything. And then she's like, well, do you feel any tightening in your stomach area? I'm like, you know what, actually I do. Like, because I have been feeling that way, but I just didn't know what it was. And I guess that's contractions, which I didn't really know because I thought contractions were like, you know, really painful at the time. I had nothing, like no idea about contractions. So they're like, okay, so we're just gonna take you to the LND, which is labor and delivery. So instead of like, you know, just taking me into the emergency room, they're taking me to labor and delivery. And they put the little machine thingy on me. Oh, yeah. And after that, I guess I was contracting. Like we didn't even know. We had no idea. I didn't feel shit. I was like, what the heck? My contractions were going up and up, remember?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, so then Raks was supposed to go to work that day, but obviously he had to call off because they ended up telling us that we have to stay because I might be going into labor. And we're like, what the heck? I got admitted to the hospital. And they kept giving me meds, right? Like it was pills and stuff like that.
The pills to
stop the contractions.
Yes, they were trying to stop the contractions.
Because they want to keep the baby in there. Yeah. And then, so I guess like they did that, and then it was starting like throughout the night it started to slow down. The contractions were like going away, and we're like, okay, cool. And the nurses were like, oh, it's looking like you might be able to go home tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, thank God, like, you know, everything's gonna be good. As soon as the morning came, all of a sudden, like they were like, okay, we were so excited to go home, and then all of a sudden my contractions was getting worse. Like they were getting worse and worse, and I was like, oh my God, like my stomach was hurting, and I started getting like really bad back pain. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like this is like the real shit now. Like I can feel everything, and my back was hurting so freaking bad.
Real deal Holyfield.
And then so what happened? Oh, so they were like, oh my gosh, I think you're gonna go into labor. And I was like, again, damn it, okay. And they started like putting the tubes, the pee catheter thing into me. And what's freaking annoying is that they had students there at the time to put the catheter in. So, I don't know how many freaking holes down there. Like, I thought there was only your pee hole, your vagina hole, and your asshole. Yeah. And like, for some freaking reason, okay, so the student had like their mentor or whatever, and she's professional obviously, and the mentor was like, oh, don't worry, like I know they're students and stuff, but you know, like I'm gonna like handle this, like I'm gonna like guide them and stuff like that, and they know what they're doing. So I was like, okay, cool. And then when they were inserting it, I was like, holy fuck, like it's so painful. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's supposed to be painful because this is the first time I had like I had, you know, a catheter in me. So I was like, okay, oh my god, it's painful. And when I guess the mentor checked, they were like, oh, that's not the right hole. And I'm like, what the heck? How do you fucking miss? Like, how many holes are there? Like, and they kept taking it out and they put it back in, and it was, they missed like 3 times. And I was like, do I really need this catheter in me? Because I'm in pain. Finally, I guess like they got it right, and they rolled me into the labor room now, like where I'm gonna give birth. So at this point, I'm like, oh my god, okay, we're gonna give birth today. Like, we already told the family and everything. And my contractions were like, what, like 5 minutes apart or something like that. So they still, at this point, they still kept giving me the meds, and they were like, you know what, like the pills are not working anymore, so we gotta like bump it up a little bit because we're really trying to keep the baby in there, and your contractions are just keep going stronger. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm in pain. So then they suggested what? That medicine? Magnesium sulfate?
Oh yeah, magnesium sulfate. Yeah, it's supposed to
it's supposed to stop the contractions.
Something like that.
Yeah, it is. It was supposed to stop the contractions. Like, it's a stronger medication to stop the contractions because the pills weren't working. So then...
Oh yeah, it was. And they injected that through the IV.
The IV. And they were telling me, like, you know, there's going to be side effects. Like, you're going to feel, like, really sick. You're going to feel really hot. Or, like, nauseous. By sick is, like, nauseous. And you're going to feel hot, like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. After, like, a few minutes, I started feeling nauseous, right? Yeah. And it felt really hot. So then he got, like, so they gave us ice, like, for me to chew on. Because, you know, at this point, I can't eat and stuff like that. I haven't eaten since the night before. Like, I haven't eaten at all. I'm starving. I can only eat freaking ice cubes. I can't even drink water. I'm thirsty. Like, it was terrible. And then Raks just got me like wet towels, like cold wet towels, and he just put it like on my forehead, around my neck. And I was like nauseous. So I don't know if I threw up. Like, I was probably throwing up like a few times, huh?
Yeah. She was just gagging like. Ugh.
Yeah. And then so at one point, like, I told Raks, babe, I'm really nauseous. And then he's like, okay. I'm like, I feel really dizzy. Like, I think, like, I feel like I'm gonna like pass out. And then he's like, okay, I'll be right here. And then so, like, as I was throwing up, boom, I blacked out. This is where Raks is gonna take over because I blacked out. So.
Yeah, so she blacked out. She just like fell her head back. She just went back and her eyes like went wide open and just blanked. She looked at me, but first she looked at me, and then next thing you know, it just went like blank. It just like, you know, just staring into nothing. And then she started shaking, and then the shakes just went harder and harder, and then it turned into like, it was a seizure. And I was like, babe. I was trying to hold her arms down and everything, and then like, oh my gosh, it was crazy.
And mind you, like, I never had a seizure in my whole entire life before. Like, it's never happened before. So I think it was the medication. It was way too strong. They've been giving me like a lot of medication throughout the day, like throughout the night. And then now they're putting this in my body when I don't even have food in me, no water. Like, my body was just reacting really badly. So at this point, like, I blacked out. I did like, you know, Raks was there like trying to like wake me up. As I started coming back and like all I heard was like beep.
Yeah.
And I was like,
the machines were going crazy.
Yeah. And the first thing I thought, I was like, holy shit, did I die? Cause you know how like when you have the heart rate machine thing like on you, and then when someone dies, it just goes beep. So that's, it literally sounds like that. And I was like, is this like my soul waking up? And I just saw like 2 nurses like started like rushing in. So blah blah blah. So they were like, okay, well, we gotta keep you like for another day or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, here we go. They gotta monitor me. So stayed another day. At this point, like in the middle of the night, I was just so tired. I'm in so much pain and I want to go home. I miss home. It was so bad that like me and Rex kind of started arguing a little bit, and I was just like, I felt like he didn't want to be there, and I feel like I was being such a burden, you know, like I was just emotional, and my head was just not in the right place. So then I just started crying to Rex. I'm like, you know what, I want to go home. Like I want to walk. Like I hate laying in bed like that. Like it was so uncomfortable, and I had the fucking catheter in me. Like it was just so terrible. Like it's been the longest 2 to 3 days, and at this point I think like we were in the moving process too.
Oh yeah.
So then like Rax was literally like, he couldn't be there with me like the whole time, but he was there with me like as much as he could, which is like about 80% of the time. But like he had to like get the U-Haul and like freaking move all the stuff from our old house to our new apartment. Like it was so hectic. Like just imagine how we were both feeling at this time. Like, man, it was so stressful. So we ended up arguing. All right, now on to the delivery day. So at this point, I was at 39 weeks exactly.
It was like the same thing that happened.
No.
It was pretty similar.
No, it's not. It's not the same. But it was terrible too.
Very terrible.
And then, so basically, well, the doctor scheduled to see me at 39 weeks exactly, and he wanted to induce me. Or it was for a possible induction. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna get induced. Like I was watching all these induction freaking vlogs. I'm like, all right, usually the baby will come like a few hours. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my hair, you know, get my hair done and do my makeup. I'm ready. I'm about to look pretty for this vlog. All right, cool. Went in, and if you guys already seen like our, you know, like delivery vlog, then you would know like a little bit about it, but I'm still gonna say it anyways. So, you know, walking in, blah, 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 the doctor came, check on me, and he's like, so, like, my doctor's pretty chill. He's like, okay, like, I'll work with what you want to do. Do you want to stay here and get induced, or do you want to just go home, wait another week? And I'm like, you know what, doctor? We're already here. I already had the mindset that I'm going to get induced today. Let's just do this because my feet are so freaking swollen. My nose, like my whole face was already swollen too. He's like, all right, cool, let's do that. So let's start the induction. Then the nurse came in, you know, checked me. Cause she was like, oh yeah, you're like half a centimeter open. I was like, what? I did all this motherfucking bouncy shit. No, it was half. It was half first. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna put the pill on in you. I was like, okay, cool. So first pill went in. It was painful. Like they like forced that shit in. Anyway, so she put the pill in. He's like, okay, I'm gonna check back. You know, in about like 4 hours. And if you opened up to at least 3 centimeters, we can like give you the Pitocin to like further jumpstart this induction or whatever. Alright, cool. In 4 hours, like, you know, things are gonna be cool. I'm gonna reach 3 centimeters for sure. 4 hours later, the nurse came back and was like, oh hi, okay, let me check you. Tell me why I was only open to 1 centimeter. And she's like, yeah, it's barely 1 centimeter. Like barely. At this point, I'm just like, okay, fuck it. Just give me another pill.
Oh my god.
8 hours later. For real, so another 4 hours passed by. The nurse came, it's a different nurse now. She came back, check on me, and she's like, all right, let me check on you. Let me check to see how far along you are. And she's like, oh my gosh, wow. You're barely 1 centimeter, or you're not even 1 centimeter. I was like,
what the fuck?
What? The other nurse,
yeah,
like, what the hell? The other nurse just said that I got to 1.
Wrong hole.
I know. Oh, she's like, oh no, I guess that nurse was just being a little bit too kind. You're barely almost to 1. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Yeah. Oh, mind you, I was having back labor at this point. Like, I was
super contractions
too. But in my back. I was like lower back. It was the worst. Like, I was in pain. I was crying to Raks. I was like, this is so uncomfortable. Yeah, I was like, my makeup was just like so oily and ugly. Yeah. And me and Raks was getting cranky. I was getting cranky. We were just like fighting again. And finally, we came to a conclusion that, you know what? Fuck this bullshit. And we're just gonna get a C-section.
The doctor came in that morning, 6 a.m. I was like, all right.
Bright and early.
Yeah. He was like, he walked in and he looked at Amanda and then he's like, how you doing? You okay? And then like, he said something about, I heard the pills didn't work or something like that. And then like, yeah, man, it was a long night. And I was like, is there any way maybe we can do like a C-section? And then he's like, sure. Like, I'll schedule you for
6:30.
Yeah, 6:30. I was like, wait.
That's in 30 minutes.
What did he just say?
Yeah, I was like, what? So 7 o'clock, they wheeled me in, or I walked into the surgery room, the OR. And then he had to change into his little outfit. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm all alone. They're gonna put like the needle in me. I'm so scared. They made me like, you know, hug a pillow at the edge of the bed. And then like, good thing all the nurses were so nice and helpful. So then I had to like curve like this, and they had to like put the needle in, and I heard like it's a huge needle, so I'm like, I don't want to see.
I accidentally walked in, and they're like, no, you can't come in yet. I was like, oops, and then right when I walked in, I saw them like.
It was huge.
Yeah.
How big was it?
It was fucking long.
After that, they laid me down, and you know, like they strapped me up, I think, and then they moved me to the bed, and I was just laying there. And they were like pinching me like in my stomach, and they were like, okay, can you feel this? Can you feel this? I'm like, yes. Oh, because they put like the little curtain up so I can't see what's going on down there, but I was awake. And oh my God, I was so scared. I thought that I was gonna feel everything, like they're gonna start cutting me up and I could feel everything. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, please, like in my head I'm just like, dude, I can feel everything, don't start. So they were pinching me, and the nurse was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. And then so the nurse took a needle and casually just poked me in the stomach, and I was like, she's like, did you feel that? I'm like, yes, I felt that.
I think they were pinching her hard.
Yeah. So at that time, like I was feeling things, like I just felt like they were just like pulling my skin like hard, and I was like, oh my God, babe, like I could feel stuff. Like I was just scared.
I could see stuff.
Yeah, he was like watching everything.
I was just like, oh, I was interested, and at the same time, I was like, what the hell? I feel so bad for her. And she's just like, and she's just like,
yeah,
it was like,
I could feel stuff, so that's why I was like moaning a little bit. I was like, like,
it was like they were like tugging hard, and her body was just moving. I was like, oh my gosh.
I guess Cadence pooped in me, but they didn't say it out loud, right? They were talking to each other, and we could hear it. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? So it was a good thing that I got a C-section the time I did, because if I didn't, if I didn't get the C-section, we wouldn't have known that Cadence pooped in me. And imagine if I had to go another week or however long, like I could get an infection in there. So like everything really happened for a reason, and I am a true believer of that. Baby was there. She cried like once, huh?
Yeah, she didn't even cry.
She didn't cry, huh?
Yeah, she just like, and then she like opened up her eyes. Her eyes were huge, and then she lifted her head up and like she looked around, and then she just like doing this with her mouth like that. Yeah, I was like, wait, you're not supposed to do that yet, baby. Just like Sit still,
yeah, she
sit
was
still.
hungry.
Yeah.
You know, I had to rest for another hour because I think like I still had like the epidural in me, so it needs to just like flush out of my system. So I had to wait another hour. And finally, she was like, "Oh, could you wiggle your toes?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay, we're gonna bring you into your room now, where you can, you know, see your husband and your baby." And I was like so excited. And finally, we went in the room, and then that's when I saw baby, right? And then the nurse, and then the breastfeeding nurse like came and, you know, like helped me out with breastfeeding and stuff. And oh my gosh, Cadence was amazing. She just latched on because obviously she was starving already. She latched on, like it was like no problem. Like a lot of people, I know a lot of people struggle with their baby like latching on, but I had no problem with Cadence. If you guys are following me on Snapchat, you guys know that she's already holding her own bottle, and she's like 5 months old. Like she's been doing that like little by little since she was like what, 3 months or something. And now for sure, like every time I give her the bottle, she just like grabs it. Like it's like the cutest thing, and she's worth every tear and every nightmare that we went through, because oh my gosh, she's the biggest blessing ever. I'm getting so emotional, but
I know, great little cherry.
like she's but yeah, that's basically our labor and delivery story. And another thing we gotta do is pick out the winner for our giveaway. We have picked the winner for this giveaway, and the winner is Hey Sokling. I think that's how you pronounce her YouTube name. She said, "I've been a fan since day one. She's so map. Keeping my fingers crossed because this mama sure needs some new makeup. Love y'all." We love you too, and thank you for your support and congratulations. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell before you leave, and we will see you guys in our next video. Bye guys.
Bye.